Going on, Falcon fan? This your boy Ricondo. Come back at you with another video. So today we're going to talk about the importance of the sack in NFL and how that relates to our Atlanta Falcons going into year 2022. Guys, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So like I said, we talk about the importance of the sack. And we all know the Atlanta Falcons only had 18 sacks this past year. And the question is, did that really tell the whole story about how well our Atlanta Falcons played from a defensive line getting to the quarterback? So unfortunately for the Falcons, it did, right? Right? We only had 18 sacks. It kind of let you know that we couldn't do anything. We couldn't pressure the quarterback like we wanted to. So it kind of laid out um, the effect of the poor season we had from a defensive line standpoint, right? And you look at the changes, look at the turnover, a lot of players that's not here anymore. We got a whole new pass rushing group, right? We can look at all this and stuff and tell, right? The defense's coaches, head coach, the front office was not pleased with the productions we had from a pass rushing standpoint. All right, but what I want to say is that yes, the sack is important stat to look at, but it's really not the only stat that we should be looking at. And actually, I believe that it's secondary to the pressures that we should be looking at. Right, so we're looking at the sack. Like I said, sacks is a good number to look at a pass rusher and tell how good a pass rusher is. However, it does not actually tell you what kind of impact that a pass rusher is actually providing in the game, correct? That's what you want to be able to do. And I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm saying. We had two players drafted in the same draft. We had Khalil Mack drafted right before Big Beasley. Right, Big Beasley in 2016 led the league in sacks. Right, he led the league in sacks. Khalil Mack had 5 less sacks than Vic Beasley did. Right, but Vic Beasley only had 45 pressures that season. Khalil Mack had 94 pressures. So Khalil Mack pressured the quarterback twice as much as Vic Beasley did. And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to affect the quarterback. You want to be able to go in and you want to be able to affect the quarterback. That's how you can determine how good a pass rusher is. How many times that they affect the quarterback. All right, I'm gonna give you a stat here on a clean pocket for NFL quarterbacks. They like 99.3% on passing rating in the clean pocket. That's the average for a quarterback throwing out a clean pocket, right? When they get pressure, they drops down to like 64.3%. That's a big deal. If we looking at when we want to try to affect the quarterback, right? We want to be able to produce pressure. That's why when we looked at Dean Pease, when he talk about he want to be able to pressure the quarterback, because for that 99.3 to that 64.6% of just the quarterback pass rating drop, that's a big deal. That's an average for a quarterback. So when they throwing out a clean pocket, man, these guys are good. They're gonna be able to complete a pass. But when you start putting pressure on them, that's when you start to separate the great quarterbacks from the not so great quarterbacks, right? Because you can see that passer rating. Now, there's some quarterbacks that throw real good under pressure. So you have to be careful, right? Because you got the Aaron Rodgers, probably one of the best quarterbacks, good under pressure. Matty Ice is also good under pressure. You never probably want to throw a lot of pressure at Tom Brady as well, because those guys are good under pressure. But on an average, what you want to do, you want to try to affect the quarterback. So you want to start to go in and affect the quarterback by putting more pressure on them. Another thing we think about interceptions. The interceptions go up from 1.8 to like 3.1 on pressures, right? And it's going to be on less attempts. So more attempts, you look at a quarterback and they're going to throw less interceptions when they got a clean pocket, right? Because they're not under pressure. They can set their feet. They can look at their first, second, third read and whatever, and they'll be able to complete the pass. But then under pressure, they got to think fast. Um, they might not see the blitz coming from this way, or whatever, and then they start to actually panic, and that's when they start to actually make those mistakes and throw more interceptions. So we want to look at the pressures. Like I said, I know everybody look at the sacks because that actually think about it, it's just a lazy thing to do. I mean, Vic Beasley, you can get what 4 sacks in one game. You're already almost there. You got 17 games left. You had 4 sacks. If you get 2 sacks, you know, see what I'm saying? So the sack numbers are great, but how many pressures that you're going to be able to produce um, for your team is what we're trying to what we're talking about. Now, I'm not saying the sack is not important because what the things that the sack do, and we have to have sacks. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not saying the sack is not important because what the sack does, it's a game changing play, right? All right, you get a sack. We talking about third down, crowds roaring. You get out to the quarterback, you sack, you take him out of field goal range, right? You end the game. That's what sacks do. It you can force a fumble when you get a sack. That's one of the one of the best plays in the world, right? A strip sack, you know, and if you get the script and then you scoop and you score, that's even better, right? I think Big Beasley had one of those in his season where he actually broke the had the league leading in sacks that year. So I mean, those are good things to see. I'm not saying that a sack is not important, but we want to look at it from a team standpoint. We want to be look at pressures, right? And then we look at a defensive coach like Dean Pease when he started to send those exotic blitzes, right? That even adds on to the pressure that you hope your pass rushers are starting to produce. We're talking about these guys on the screen: Ebiketie, Okendeji. We talking about D'Angelo Malone. We talking about Lorenzo Carter. If those guys can start producing pressure, and then with the added pressures that Dean Pease is going to do with his blitz packages, that's just make it even worse for the NFL quarterback, right? So the sack is important. I'm not taking anything away from the sack. And we looking at it from an Atlanta Falcons standpoint, this is really a moot point because the sack numbers reflected our pressures as well. Because obviously we wasn't getting the pressures based off the number of sacks that we had. All right. But what I'm trying to say is sometimes the sacks can actually lie to how many pressures from individual players, how good they actually really play. And then we can look at some guys and they had 6 to 8 sacks, right? And we say they didn't have a good season, but in reality, they had one of the best seasons from a pass rush standpoint because every time they actually rushed the passer, they was affecting that passer in some way, right? They just didn't get home, but they rushed him. The quarterbacks have a clock in their head and things like that, so we have to keep that in mind when the pass rusher is out there trying to actually rush your quarterback. So that's that's where I'm at with this, guys. I'm just thinking the importance of sacks, and I look at it and I think about the 18 sacks we had, and we definitely got to have more sacks. Everybody's not. I'm not saying if we have 18 sacks again this year, that means the pressures definitely wasn't there. Because in my opinion, if you get the pressures, you're gonna start to produce more sacks. It's just that simple, right? But sometimes just getting a quarterback off his spot. I know when we had Mike Smith here, he's always mentioned that, and everybody's like, "Oh man, whatever, it's just a bunch of crap." Dan Quinn mentioned the same thing. It's not all about the sex. Not and like I said, they are right if you're getting pressures, right? But if you're not getting the pressures, I mean, Dean Pease mentioned it last year. He said he got to be able to pressure the quarterback. If you're not pressuring the quarterback, guys, we just talked about it. They're in a clean pocket. No matter who the quarterback is, it's gonna be they're gonna be have success, right? So you got to be able to pressure quarterback, and we got to be able to. Now, so quarterbacks, you got to be able to know how to pressure them. You don't want to do it too much. 'Cause like I said, some quarterbacks are really good and under pressure, right? Because they know how to read defenses and get rid of that ball, like a Tom Brady, like a Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is real good under pressure. Like a Aaron Rodgers, though some of those guys are real good under pressure. But if you're gonna do it, you gotta know how to do it. You gotta mix it up. I know getting Tom Brady up the middle, it's a good way to get him our pressure. Some guys get happy feet. We remember we talked about um, the kid from Carolina talking about seeing ghosts out there. So I mean things like that. You can start to get enough pressure on quarterbacks, and you kind of get them off their game, right? I think Matt Ryan got off his game a couple times with some pressures from some teams, so it's easily to to um to change the game. Just starting to put pressure on quarterbacks, get those hits. Get hit a lot of times for quarterbacks. They don't like that. We know Tom Brady hates to get hit. So, guys, I just want to come out here and talk about the importance of sacks versus the pressures, right? So, what we want to see from our team, we want to see more pressures this year. We definitely want to see the sack numbers go up from 18 to hopefully in the 40s and 50s. But at the same time, we want our players, these young guys, to provide that pressure, play in and play out. That's what we want to see. All right, last thing I'm going to talk about a little history on the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk about our top five pass rushers in Atlanta Falcons history, and we're going all the way back from when they start recording sacks, right? So it could be more, but because like I said, I don't think they started recording sacks till later on. But for the Atlanta Falcons, and to me, like I thought it was going to be more than this. Um, our total number. Um, John Abraham is our leading sacks. You probably already known that, but he got 68 and a half sacks. After him, Chuck Smith, our resident pass rush coach, that works with a lot of our players, with 58.5. Patrick Kearney is at 58. Travis Hall, pass rusher from the 90s, 41.5. And then number 5, believe it or not, is Vic Beasley at 37.5 sacks. So from 1966 to now, our leader in sacks for a franchise is John Abraham with 68 sacks, which tells me, from a pass rushing standpoint, we have did a terrible job providing and producing good pass rushers, right? Um, that's one of the things we got to fix. I mean, we talk about the defense and how bad the defense been, but from 1966, we only had what 5 good pass rushers, and then some even suspect like Vic Beasley. He's pretty good, but I mean, so from Travis Hall to Patrick Kearney, Vic Beasley is the next guy in line. I mean, guys, we have to do better than that from a pass rush standpoint. Hopefully, some of these guys can change the narrative to that, because at this point, the Falcons can't, in my opinion, can't go nowhere up, from up, um, from a pass rush standpoint. I mean, that's just not good. So, um, we got to be able to create these pressures. We got to be able to start to produce sacks, but we definitely know if we don't get pressures, and I think we failed miserably in that last year, obviously, because the pressures we did get led up to 18 sacks. Just tell you the whole story, right? And if these guys can rush on the edge, and Grady Jarrett can put that pressure in the middle, and we can definitely see a uptick in our pressures and our sacks coming in 2022. So guys, let me know what you think about the sacks versus the pressures. Which one you think is more important? And that's all I have. This is your boy Ricondo. Come back at you with another video. Peace.